to cool this thing down so it would work. I'm going to try this again. I'm reporting from Northeast Florida, where vandals tried to burn a Confederate monument. You can see in the background, there's the monument. This monument was damaged overnight. I haven't heard of any exact time that the authorities have said, but sometime overnight, someone tried to burn it, putting some flammable onto it, lighting it ablaze, and some parts, some things did burn. There's plywood, there's some material that was put around the monument to protect it, because just 2 weeks ago, this monument was moved from Central Plaza in the city of St. Augustine, Florida, to this spot about 19 miles away by road and more than 90 miles away by water. It eventually had to be moved by water, by barge, and so it wound up in this spot in a beautiful park that has since been renamed a memorial park. And so the monument is here now, and workers are the monument had been cut in two for transport, and so workers are up there right now doing some metal work. They have to remove that green metal frame that's around the monument, and they have to make sure to secure the two pieces back together. So that's what they're working on. And when they came into work this morning, they found that somebody had tried to burn it, and there were words left on it that said, "You make us look bad," in orange paint. Curiously, the orange paint is the same color as paint that was painted on the barge that moved the monument, and painted in big letters in orange on the barge. It said Trump. I'm not saying there's a connection, but same paint, same color. So that's kind of strange. The authorities have not said who they think did this. I haven't heard of any arrests. This is not in city jurisdiction. It's in the county of St. Johns County, and so the sheriff's office is in charge of investigating. And this property, this nice park, is owned by a businessman named Randy Ringhaver, and he offered to have the monument placed on his property after it was relocated. Back in June, there was a big fuss to move the monument because many people said that it reminded them of slavery and of past racial injustices in the United States. And so in June, which was the month after the killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis, the city council in St. Augustine voted 3-2 to move this monument. And it took some time. It had to painstakingly be protected. It's a 50-ton monument, and it had been in the same spot for 141 years, put in that spot to recognize the sacrifice of 44 men and boys who died during the Civil War. They were soldiers from St. Augustine, and their remains were never returned to St. Augustine. And families, local families in St. Augustine, who are descendants of the Civil War dead, didn't have a way to remember them, didn't have a way to mourn, and many of them, they've told me that they used to go to this monument as children, and they bring their families to remember their war dead at the monument. So then it was quite a controversy, the moving of it. There were a lot of people who disagreed that it should be moved, and some people said they thought that this showed that there was a reinterpretation of the meaning of the monument was going on, and people objected to that. So I'd like to stay on longer. I appreciate everyone's comments that I'm seeing here. I'd like to stay on longer. I'll see if I can stay on a little longer, but I can feel my phone heating up in my hand. It's only 91 degrees here in Florida just before 5 p.m. But it's hot, and my phone cannot take it. So here's a question: where is this at? It's at a park along the St. Johns River in Northeast Florida, and this park, it's called Trout Creek. It was called before, I think, Trout Creek fish camp, and now they've renamed it Trout Creek Memorial Park and Marina. So they've renamed it, and they've been busy making a concrete a platform to put the monument on, and they're trying to secure it. It's not believed that there were any cameras in place. There may have been a oil can or some sort of can of repellent that was left behind, but this may be a difficult case to solve. Difficult to find out who did it. You know, at night there's not many people around here, and so it would be relatively easy just to come off the main road here and, you know, do your dirty deed and then take off. Right near the monument, which is right along a road here, there's a giant sign that says Trump Pence. And so let's see here. I guess another thing that I should mention about this monument is that there were various lawsuits that were filed to try to prevent its relocation, and the lawsuits did not prevail. There was a lawsuit that was filed on behalf of 38 families who are direct descendants of the Civil War dead, and they had argued that really it was the city had no right to move this, and that you know, it was a memorial. It was more something to remember the dead, and it didn't have any Confederate markings on it. So the city, back in, this issue started really becoming more prevalent back in 2016, 2017. And at that time, the city decided to recontextualize the monument. And so what they did is they had some plaques made to try to put into context the monument itself, and mentioned that, yes, there were injustices that occurred in that time of history, and mark it like that. Those who disagreed with moving it said, how can you move this from the city of St. Augustine, the nation's oldest city, which prides itself on its history, a city that calls itself the nation's oldest because it's the oldest continuously occupied European settlement, and, you know, millions of tourists come into St. Augustine to see its history, and yet here you are moving a piece of history when there are other monuments to, for example, Pedro Menendez, Ponce de Leon, and others, who you could say, well, they did bad things too, so are we going to start removing those monuments as well? That was one of the arguments of those who did not want to relocate the monument. So I'm going to just walk over for a brief moment to get a little better look. My phone might overheat again, but I want to show you a little bit more of what's going on. And so workers have been at it, and I'm going to go over here where the sun isn't just directly in my eyes. So maybe from this view you can get a little bit better view. You can see a little bit toward the bottom right, you can see the orange paint, and then that dark discoloring toward the middle of the monument. I believe that is some of the repellent or oil or whatever they put on there. And then to the left, toward you can see parts of the monument that burn, and it's really the protective covering around the monument. It looks like there was damage done to that. So that's about it for now. This is Tracy Eaton reporting from the Trout Creek